Hello, with these videos, I am documenting my writing process. So what I'm really looking for with this is just input on what I'm writing about. If you have a perspective, if you have something to share, any critiques, anything that you like, anything that you think is really awesome. And yeah, just trying to get an as objective of a view as I can of what I'm writing about so that I can be as clear as I can. I'm going through the process of trying to put together a book, and it is just on the ongoing evolution of the human species and how that's playing itself out in culture, and how I think that is an exponential process, not a linear process, and an evolutionary process that's exponential is something that's a very fascinating thing to watch. And I think that just the technology around us in terms of its exponential growth is a reflection of our current state of evolution, and it's a very exciting time in terms of human history, and I'm enjoying the process of writing about it. So the what I wrote about today is a concept called that I reference as stretching the nervous system. So and what this is stretching the nervous system's capacity to stimulate itself and stretching the nervous system's capacity to relax itself. So the nervous system only has a certain range of stimulation in which it will allow, and I think that we have an infinite amount of level of stimulation that we can put through our actual nervous systems, and then also a scope of the down regulation. So the ability for the nervous system to calm down, to relax, to be in a state of homeostasis, and be really, really zenned out and super peaceful, organs all working really, really well. And I think that they're relative to each other. So my story with this was I started to exercise, and I would say I'm starting in this middle of this infinite scope of stretching the nervous system. I started in the middle. So I was very unhealthy. I wasn't really doing anything with my life. And I went out and I started exercising. And I started to stretch my ability to stimulate myself to a certain extent. I could exercise, and after a certain amount of time, I just kept in the same exercise. I wasn't really doing anything special. So this is when I was first getting started when I was younger, and just being really strategic. And I just started to stretch in terms of stimulate. How much can I stimulate my body? How much can I stimulate my brain? And after a while, I plateaued. I stopped being able to lift heavier weights. I stopped seeing results in the gym just because I was only ever doing just a stimulation. And what I realized is when I started to eat better and allow my body the nutrients that it needed to actually fuel itself and fuel its cells, oh my gosh, I started to get stronger. As I started to relax more and just be more calm and start to sleep better, these types of things, oh my gosh, I got way stronger. And as I started to practice meditation, do kind of breathing practices, these types of things, oh my gosh, I got even stronger. And what happened to the extent of my nervous system in terms of my ability to stimulate myself over the years of me being in and around the health industry is I have this reference, I have a broader scope to my nervous system and what I did when I was younger. I do also associate these on infinite levels of depth, and I think it's the stimulation of the nervous system is the nervous system's ability to understand and articulate complex topics, and the down regulation of the nervous system is to explain those things simply, and that is an Einstein definition of, I got my notes here. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. So that's the premise of it, is we have a certain range of our nervous system. It's relative to not only physical health and exercise and these types of things, but also the depths of complexity in which we achieve with our career, I think is completely relative to how much we relax ourselves. And that's really the essence of it. This is, being enlightened and being connected to God and infinitely and only, and that's the aspects of that are referenced in our culture. And being able to just be very in touch with what's going on in the moment and being able to express something that's highly complex. I think all the great minds in our history did this, and I think that we can work with the body in a physical way to develop this. So we stretch the body's ability to upregulate. And when I talk about this, it's just practicing the process of stimulating the body and putting more signal in one current moment through the nervous system as we can possibly handle. Exercise does this. The examples that I write about in the book are a man named Tim Boyle, and a Chevrolet Camaro hit an 18-year-old boy and trapped him out of the vehicle. Tim Boyle, from underneath the car, picks his car up and holds it up long enough to take the people out. This is a documented story. And what happens is, that requires an immense amount of force, an immense amount of stimulation to the nervous system if the motivation's high enough. And Tim Boyle broke 6 teeth, so I don't recommend doing this, although within the current state of motivation he had the extent to stimulate his body. My grandfather, when he was near the end of his life, he was in the hospital with Alzheimer's. He pulled one of the mechanical electric doors off of its hinges, and this is a phenomenon known as hysterical strength. We don't actually know, we can't measure it scientifically because it's very hard to reenact these events where people have this exponential amount of force, and I think it's just the kind of hiding potential of what we have as a species, and again the exponential process of evolution. The down regulation is our ability to simply just connect the current moment and try to reduce as much as we possibly can the amount of signal that is going through the nervous system. In terms of deep enlightenment yoga based stuff, they're doing extremely slow paced breathing, exaggeratedly slow paced breathing when they're doing intense spiritual practice. And some of these yogis, in terms of Buddhisms and yogi people, the stuff that they've achieved, because they're so in touch with the current moment, they're so in touch with themselves in terms of their complexity, like the monks that drill into their heads and put pressure into the softest part of their skull. The fact that so much fight or flight response can happen and that person can be in control of it is fascinating. And I think it's a very important thing to focus on as a process and a way of being in the world as we start to see more technology come in, and as automation and robotics start to come in, and the inevitability of just computers doing everything better than we do now, in terms of what our basic needs are as a society. And that's what I've been writing about today. So the up-regulation, the down-regulation, the nervous system, and just a brief little overview on that. Talk to you later.